It may be a weekend that some might want to forget. The Morden Mud, the first MX2 Moto, started off not so bad. This is when the rain started to come down. Track was looking pretty good early. Jimmy Nelson was taking care of some MX2 West business. Look at Kyle Beaton go inside. But then the skies opened up and the rain came down. Nelson wins the first MX2 Moto. To the big boys, Medaglia, the first ever two-wheel roll distributing push. But there was water in the valleys. It was a test of attrition. The salty dog crashes. Ooh, that was ugly. The champ was mired down in the ruts. And our leader, Mitch Cook, goes off the track and has some issues with a flagger. But Wong got back on the bike and started to pound out some laps to unlap himself. Medaglia's bike lets go. The leader at the time, Keith, goes down. Then Cook has to push his bike up a hill. Oh, the champ gets a face full of soil, and Mitch Cook ends up winning the first moto. This is where things went awry. Problems on the track based on the conditions. MX2 Moto canceled. Let's fix it up and go to the MX1 boys. Uh-oh, rider revolt, sign the petition. We don't ride, so we have a good times moto. And it was Dynamite. Mike Harms, your winner. Welcome to Regina, Saskatchewan for round 4 of the 2007 Monster Energy Motocross Nationals. Mark Travers and Brian Coster in the booth. Brian, Moto Valley Raceway, what a beautiful piece of scenery we have here.
Situated right in the prairies, it's flat as a pancake all around. Come to Moto Valley and it's Moto Heaven. This place is awesome. They have done so much work on this track. There's something for everyone, Travs. The riders love it, the fans do too.
Track crews working diligently, horses out in the field and riders on the track for their practice. Let's go get caught up with those points in the MX2 West after 1 of 4 rounds. Of course, Ben Evans with that win last weekend after the penalty. Eric Nye in second, Gray Davenport in third, Chris Kiefer in fourth, all the way down to 10th.
To the big boys, the MX1 Carpenter in control. Cook and Waugh having their own little deal. Phillips and Dubé. Check out Mesley and Gibson rounds out the Homans.
Okay, Moto Valley Raceway, Brian. Supercross and flat up top with some obstacles, and then we drop down into the valley for some huge up and downs.
Yeah, great elevation changes here. There's a really wicked off camber up in the back where the riders have to use first gear on the inside, but they've lengthened it so guys can slingshot around. This is coming into the ultra high-speed Euro Bowl, and it takes the Kuyangs to hold the gas on there, Trav.
We've been talking about the track prep. Look at the soil here, but there's still some hard places. The blue groove, that's what they call it out here.
Absolutely, so there's a little bit of everything. Tire choice is really tricky here because of those blue groove shiny spots. Lots of ruts in the corners, and it really gets real hard packed as these ruts bake in. It's really difficult for the riders. They really have to be on their toes. Huge jumps out here as well.
Brian, look at those jump faces, hard as a rock. That's really safe. But again, we're talking about fun. The riders love coming to this track, hanging out the big air on the jumps and getting into those ruts. Remember about those 2 roller sections, Brian? We've seen a lot of passes in the past. Okay, out on the track for the Scott Helmet Cam and Julian Cerny.
Absolutely, this is a dirt start here and a wicked long straight. Great traction here. It's confusing. Sometimes the riders shoot off straight if they're not thinking. The middle lane is where the start goes. And we hit a small tabletop up to a big tabletop. Lots of action and carnage throughout the race. Love these ass bends. You can slingshot inside or go high. If you go high, all of a sudden you're on the inside. You've got an advantage here coming into this rocker section. So a lot of inside-outside strategies. Hay bales on the track this morning for practice. That is to open up some lines, get things happening on these corners here. This is a huge sweeper, but this year it's really clumpy. They had a sprinkler hose blow there, so it got flooded out. So that big sweeper, very clumpy. Here the ski jump, down, back up. Nick actually cants you right into a nice natural whip. Julian Alps to go wide here, pins it down this Euro Bowl. You get light, you come up and down this new chute that Chick, the track design, built about some 2-3 years ago. Lots of passes here we've seen in the past through the sweeper. Now, everything here is about the dirt consistency and the clumps. It doesn't offer the flow that we've had here in some years when you can really hang it out. It's much more treacherous and much more precise.
Nice job, Fabulous. Okay, Moto Valley Raceway, the MX2 boys are on the line. How do you attack time practice in terms of going out? Do you try and tuck into some of the faster guys that you know, or you try and go out and bust your own lines? And thinking that, are you trying just to get one fast lap in, or are you trying to get into a groove with a bunch of different laps?
Yeah, I'm kind of more of a groovy guy, I guess. I try to go out there and put a bunch of fast laps in there. I'm more of a consistent rider than just blazing fast for 1 or 2 laps.
Welcome back to Moto Valley Raceway in Regina, Saskatchewan. The second stop on the MX West Tour, and this first moto will be brought to you by Yamaha Motor Canada. Boys on the line, Brian. After that muddy race we had last week, I'm sure these guys are dying to get on the track and get to racing.
Absolutely. A perfect day for racing. The board goes to 5. There's Jimmy Nelson lined up beside Gray Davenport on the Suzuki. A dirt start. It's a little more fair for everyone. Into the first turn, we got a Kawasaki. No, looks like a KTM snuck up the middle.
Brian, we got some carnage on the opening corner. Looks like Moffenmeyer's down, and I think Ben Evans, number 235, our series points leader, is down on the canvas. Now in first place with that Royal Strimming Hoshiad, and looks like Nelson in second.
Looks like we've got number 20, that's Kyle Beaton with a good start on the outside. Rails right around Jimmy Nelson. What a move by that young BC Canadian rider. Very aggressive. Beaton is a rider that lays it all on the line every corner of every lap. Unbelievable move on Jimmy Nelson.
To the Scott Lockoff cam as the boys funneled through, and you saw how rough it was through that sweeper. A good shot at number 103, Tucker Hibbert, who had some bike problems last week. He's got something to show this weekend. There's that off-camber section, Brian, and Hibbert goes really wide.
Slingshots down to the bottom, and he actually doesn't lose any time at all. That line is working for him. I bet we're gonna see some passes there. We also saw his leg that tore off the peg earlier on those clumps.
Suzuki bike off the track. That was Davenport, a high railer for number 103, Tucker Hibbert. But this is the battle for the lead. Number 32, Eric Noy on the outside, and here comes the Beats.
Beating up the inside, has a peak. He's got a good drive. He's got ample time and opportunity to make a pass, and now soil samples cutting down the inside. I think he was trying to set up early for the inside, lost the front wheel. I think he's got the motor running though, Travers. He may only lose 5-6 spots.
Remember how slick the track is earlier in the moto, Brian? You sometimes have to be patient. You want to make a move on the inside, coming down to one of those faces. Davenport back in the race. Number 52, Brady Sharon looking good, and there's Beaton back in the race.
Patience, Travers, great point, and that's something that Beaton is lacking big time. Now, series leader Evans, all dirty from that crash off the start. He is way back in about 25th place, but he's picking guys off every lap. Back up to Gray Davenport, Trav.
Again, Evans, a very fast young American rider, 17 years old. We'll see if he can knife his way through the pack. Look at Beaton using the whole track, right? And Davenport with an issue on the inside. Remember how tough those ruts are. Here's that sweeper section. Looks very smooth on the tail end.
Oh, Jimmy looks nice, and it looked like he put together a nice little grouping of ruts there. The thing is, those ruts, they don't really flow. They lead into other clumps and other ruts. You have to be so ultra-focused. Great move right there by young Brady Sharon on that whole shot Kawasaki passing the Rockstar Factory Suzuki. Oh, Gray Davenport.
Look at number 32, Eric Nye, comfortably in the lead. Let's check the gap back to number 1, Jimmy Nelson. We're looking at about 3 seconds, Brian. Nelson having some rubs. Oh, and Hibbert is down, and there goes number 546, Urquhart, who is now in 3rd place.
Urquhart came up with Ben Evans, and they're both sporting a fly gear, and they are on the gas big time here in Canada.
Look at this little cluster for 10th, Brian. Number 523, Lee Coots, the man mountain on the outside. He's got Tanner Reedman up over the lifter.
Look at the size difference between those guys. Coots is the man mountain. Now Nelson getting aggressive on Eric Nye. And he's catching up, and look at the Rouge just bouncing off him. He's getting pelted by that KTM right now, working for every inch of real estate out on the racetrack, Travs.
Back to the battle for 6th place, up into the Blair Morgan corner, number 52, Brady Sharon, holding off the Rockstar Suzuki of number 25, Gray Davenport. Great lines for Sharon, though. He is on the gas on that Denny's Kawasaki. Oh, but look at Davenport on the inside, and more drive up the lifter and gets the position.
Sharon doesn't do the jump, just looks over. I can't believe that. He must have had some wheel spin from the inside. That is a big launch, though, for the 250Fs, and you're seeing them just get the front wheel on the landing. A huge gap there.
The battle for the lead is intense as we get back to the battle for 3rd place. And Hibbert goes inside on Urquhart with a great move as he launches down into the valley. Brian, look at the lead through the Blair Morgan corner. Eric Nye is all about defense today. Love the way that kid's riding.
Nye has really stepped it up a notch in this moto. He's been very composed. He's been holding Jimmy at bay. Jimmy's starting to tighten it up. We'll see if he can stretch it out again. Back to Evans. Evans has made it all the way up to 12th place from his crash earlier on. Bags one more spot, puts him into 11th. And you can see that. See him having to lean way forward like a ski jumper to try and get that front wheel over that landing.
Goes inside on number 62, Tanner Reedman. Good position for him. He's getting back in the points. Back to the battle for the lead, Brian. Through that right-hander that is super rough. And high speed into this big bank Moto van corner. Oh, Nelson with a great line on the inside. Does he have the lead? Oh, and it's rough through those rocker sections. Yes, he does. And very aggressive off of that jump, Brian, coming into that left-hander. A great pass for the lead.
That pass was all about aggression. He just hit that throttle. Nye had that whole section dialed through the outside into the rockers. Jimmy just got on the gas a little earlier to execute that pass. Now here it is again. Cuts over, goes to rail the inside right here, gets his position, squats and pins it right here. This is where the pass is actually made. He came in with so much more momentum. Now watch Nye, wheelies right through beautifully. He ain't doing a thing wrong, but Jimmy just come in with that aggression. A heads-up, experienced move. Woohoo! Great racing here up in Canada.
Nye had the inside line coming in there too, but Jimmy was just on the pipe earlier and more aggressive with that jump. To number 546, Urquhart in 3rd place. Tucker Hibbert has gone down again. Yes, he is. Now working up on Sharon right now. This is for 6th.
What a three-pack of Kawasaki's. Great riding by Hibbert, the way he can cut through. He goes right through, makes 2 passes in 1 section. A lot of race experience. Of course, with his Arctic Cat snowcross, all his gold medals in the X Games and World Champions, him and Blair Morgan battling hardcore on the sleds, that race experience does transfer to 2 wheels.
Look at these guys going at it. Lapper out of the way, beaten on the inside. This is for 4th. He's got Davenport all over him. How about this guy? Young McGlynn, number 149, an amateur, sitting in 10th place. He's been turning heads all over the track.
And you know, his bike sounds terrible. Like he needs a pack of silencer. He needs help. That kid's sitting 10th on a bit of a ratty bike.
That was the last lap flag. Brian Nelson comes up and takes the win in a spectacular first moto. Jimmy Nelson back on it in the MX2 West.
To the leaderboard presented by Yamaha. Great ride for Urquhart. Love Beaton's comeback. But Jared Allison, Kyle McGlynn, and Lee Coots serve it up huge in the first moto.
Finishing second in the first MX2 Moto is number 32, Eric Nye. Eric, a fantastic start. You were leading out there, buddy. Tell us how you're feeling.
Felt really good to pick up that whole shot. You know, I had confidence that I was going to get the whole shot. I got the whole shot, led for over half the race. First time I've led up here in Canada, so I'm happy, you know. I felt my speed was good. Me and Jimmy had a pretty good pace going, and he made a pass on me late in the race, and, you know, nothing I can do, just, you know, work harder and go for the second moto win.
How was the track compared to practice this morning? Because it looks like it's setting up, and there's some great lines out there, real fast track.
Yeah, the ruts are definitely a lot deeper than they were in practice. Track's getting a lot better as the day goes on, and it should make for some good racing in the next moto.
Beautiful young rider out of Washington State. Give us a little background on who you are, where you're from.
I'm from Kent, Washington. Been, you know, doing all the amateur nationals in the U.S. for a while, and figured I'd give this a try.
Nice shot of second place finisher Eric Nye with the Royal Distributing Hole Shot. Stick around, MX1 next.
Talk to us
us about a rider who comes to a track for the first time that's never ridden it. How do you approach your weekend? Because is it different from going to a track that you're familiar with?
You know, it is. It's a lot different. That's what I think part of the problem is I'm having up here is I'm struggling with the new tracks. I'm not used to them or anything like that. You know, go back in the U.S., I can just, you know, I can pretty much tell you how the track's going to be. And getting used to the tracks here has been a little bit of a problem, struggle with me, I think. And once I get used to them, it's just you really got to learn and pay attention to the local guys that know the lines, and you got to pay attention to the dirt and the soils and just the way things change and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot different.
This is the 2007 Monster Energy Motocross Nationals. MX1 boys on the line, and this one will be brought to you by FMF. Can you feel the power, Fabs?
I can feel the monster energy right here out of our lovely starting girl, Megan. There is so much intensity in the air right now. Megan goes to 5, and we go back to the line. A great shot from the top of the box. Travis, look at them focus.
Waiting for the gate to drop as we get going in MX1. Huge straightaway, Brian, as they funnel into that right-hander.
Looks like Jean-Sébastien Roy, 5-time Canadian champ, a clear Royal Distributing whole shot recipient. The pack funnels through, couple guys go wide.
Look who got a great start on that Denny's whole shot. Kawasaki, number 14, the original. He's up in the mix. Willard's in there, and Jeff Gibson with a great start, Brian.
Fantastic. This is what Gibson needs. Carpenter's been getting all the accolades under that tent. Carpenter with a dismal start. I don't even see him there in the top 20 right now. Dubé also has a fairly decent start, Travis, up through the sweeper to the ski jump.
How about Gibson using the beaten line on the outside as he gets by North Cal? And look at, he is pressuring the champ through the bowl, Brian. The inside line, through the Euro section. Does he have the champ? Jeff Gibson is in the lead.
Gibson much more aggressive into the Euro Bowl. Waugh kind of sorting out. Waugh takes it right back. I love this right now from the champ. Now Gibson on the inside. Gibson clips the champ's bar. And the champ is down. And when you crash off the start, you're losing tons of positions. Look at the pack. There's got to be 30 guys getting by the champ. Stalled the engine. He's got to refire that 450 Yamaha.
What an aggressive line on the inside for Gibson. I love that kind of stuff early in the moto. He is in the lead. Back to the battle for third place. The original in third. And look at Michael Willard with another great start in this class.
Willard knows how to ride the 450. He's a light rider, so he gets a lot of acceleration out of the turns. Colton Fasciotti making up the difference for the champ's fall for Blackfoot. Direct Fox Racing Yamaha. He is pressuring right now for the lead.
You talked about Carpenter not getting a good start. There he is way back in the pack with Blair Morgan and Davey Fraser. Kyle Keast, another terrible start for him. Look at the gap. It is tightening up through the Blair Morgan corner, and Colton Fagioli goes inside.
A great high-end shot. Fasciotti a little sideways. Right now, Gibson leading the first time in Canada. This is what he needs for his confidence, big time. And they're actually gapping third place. These two are pulling away from the pack. Oh, Fasciotti has got the speed. Look at that. He made that coming in through the corner. That is where Beaton fell down in the first moto. Fasciotti opts for the inside, drifts wide to cut off. Gibson letting Gibson know he's not going to be as easy to mess with as the champ was earlier on.
Fasciotti getting great drive coming out of the valley. That allowed him to get into position to make that pass. Look at this. We've got Clegg on the inside. Oh, and Homans goes off the track. Kyle Keast working his way back. We get a nice cluster here, Brian.
Wow, Homans gets caught up on top of that berm and that real silky loose stuff. Loses all kinds of ground. Now the champ, number 2, Jean-Sébastien on that beautiful orange Fox gear. And you can really see the gap from the side, how big that jump is. He's working his way up through the pack.
Look at number 10, Colton Fagioli. He's out in front, Brian. Is that a surprise to you?
Not really, because he showed what he could do last year big time. The guys at Blackfoot saw the potential, stole him from the Cowie camp. He is making good. Not really surprised to see Colton. I knew he was going to win one this year. Didn't know it was going to come this soon. Now, he hasn't won the race yet, but Jean-Sébastien Roy making up all kinds of ground, passes young Tyler Medaglia, and this is invaluable experience for Medaglia falling around the champ.
Oh, number 11, Willard goes down, Brian. He was in third place, and we just saw North Cal go by. North Cal's in third. Waugh now battling up through the Morgan corner. Blair Morgan goes inside. Does he have Medaglia? Oh, I think so, but look at the defense on Medaglia. Oh, the drive through the corner. Brian, remember, Medaglia, second fastest lap time in qualifying this morning.
Yeah, amazing. I thought Morgan was going to cut in. He just stayed on the outside, made the pass. Now Willard back up and running. I don't know if he got dazed there. He was standing there for a while, not quite clearing that uphill. I don't know if he's rung his bell or if he's just kind of bent up his bars or something. Oh, now aggressive on the inside. Great move. before, Willard, there's actually 2 inside lines at the bottom of that off camber, and then the outside line as well.
That was the battle for 4th place. We saw Cook up there, Willard. Oh my goodness, is Lavoie on the gas line, the outside line through the slingshot, getting past Phillips.
Champ is on a rampage right now after that crash. He has to be furious, and it shows in his riding. Battle for 5th place. Carpenter is caught up to Willard after Willard's fall. And look at Carpenter's style, so aggressive, going for the outside here, railing around, doing a little paddling into these rockers. Carpenter hits it like it's just smooth terrain. No issue at all. An excellent smooth pass by Paul Carpenter on that Cernix Monster Energy Kawasaki.
And remember, Willard's still battling for the MX2 East Championship, so he likes being up here, but he's not going to get into a bar banging situation. Oh my goodness, the champ through the Euro section. He's got Mesley on the inside, on the outside, and he's got Lockhart on the inside.
Oh.
Let's see if he can come up through the middle. What a pass for Mesley, carrying speed through those ruts, Brian.
I thought John Sebastian was going to go through, but he took a second chance because that's where he got hung up with Gibson. He didn't want to get hung up with either of these guys. He knows he's a bit faster. Got by Lockhart, now he's got a sight set on Mesley. Here's the battle for 4th.
Did you see Cook with the look over as Carpenter goes inside right by him? Cook, don't be looking over the side. Look for your line, dog.
Mitch has got to look ahead here and focus on the track. I don't think Mitch has really come to terms with the clumpy dirt on this track. It's so easy to get a wheel wrong, and when you do, you fall hard. John Sebastian all the way up to 6th on Marco Dubé. And look at these clumps of dirt, folks. They're axle deep through the middle. And look how slow and gingerly both riders kind of have to go to get their bearings before they can straighten out and open up the throttles on these big 450s.
The most consistent rider in the track so far this season is number 5, Marco Dubé. I love seeing that. Jeff Gibson in 2nd place. We get back to 3rd. That's the original North Cal. Oh my goodness, Carpenter is on the pipe.
And see how sweet that corner is. There's no clumps there. Beautiful dirt. You can hang it out. Uh-oh, Johnny Montez. I wonder what he just said there. I don't think it was rated G.
Through the sweeper section out there, Brian, looks like he had a problem as we get back to number 102, Jeff Gibson, Monster Energy, Cernix Kawasaki. Yes, getting his last lap flag, Brian. He's in 2nd place. Boy, he's got to be happy with that. Oh, the big booter down into the valley for Fett Yotes.
See how far down he landed? And you can land even further smoothly. And you got a lot of time to kind of set up for that lifter. What an awesome track and a great display by Colton Fasciotti. Now, the race isn't over. We're on the last lap. Here it is. Hardcore Kawasaki riders battling NorCal, the original number 14 in 3rd. Carpenter coming in. There's the yellow flag. Travers, did they jump?
I don't know. That could be a problem. There's our leader, number 10, Colton Fasciotti, on his final approach, Brian. In that last shot, we saw Willard getting his last lap flag, and Waugh had caught up to Willard, so he was on the pipe. But Colton Fasciotti, with his first win in the MX1 class here in Canada. Oh, Brian, this battle for 3rd place is not over yet.
No.
2 turns.
Feet off the pegs. NorCal keeps the gas pin. He's holding off our points leader, Carpenter, to the checkers. What a battle.
Number 10, Colton Fasciotti with the first MX1 Pro Moto win of his career. Colton, you must be just elated, my friend.
I can't even explain it. You know, it's a long time coming. You know, I've wanted to do that for the last 4 years, and you know, it finally happened. And I'm glad to do it for my team. You know, get the bike on top of the box, and you know, I feel awesome. Bike's awesome. I just can't say enough.
Number 102, Jeff Gibson with his first podium this season. Jeff, you must be on top of the world, buddy. You rode a great race.
Thanks a lot, man. I just got a good start. Just was real aggressive on the first couple laps and just threw a good sprint down. And then I'll tell you what, it's been a long road up here. This is where I expect myself to be. And finally I got here. I'll tell you what, it's been a long time.
Finishing 3rd in the first MX1 Moto is number 14, NorCal, the original. Very close there at the end with Carpenter right up to the checkered flag, though, but a good ride for you.
Yeah, you know, I got off to a good start, and then, you know, I had a little luck on my way. Willard went down, and then just stuck in 3rd for a while, and I felt Carpenter, you know, he was giving me some heat. He was coming on strong, but just kept my head down and rode my Kawasaki's wheels off, so I'm happy.
NorCal did keep his head down. He should have had his head up here. He missed the yellow flag. Both him and Carpenter jump on the yellow. There it is. They are both docked 5 positions. Ouch! That has gotta hurt after riding so hard. To the leaderboard, the amended leaderboard. There is our finishers in the top 10. Willard hangs on for third after the yellow flag incident. Gibson holds on to second. Dubé. We've got a little environmental minute for all you throttle jockeys out there. Here we are in the machine racing pit. This is Kyle Keith's race bike. Look at the amount of hours this thing's got on it. He has ridden this thing hard and furious. You're draining the oil here. You always want to make sure you catch your oil in a drain pan. Very important to recycle all the oil you capture. Some racetracks actually have oil recycling centers, and I think more and more tracks are offering that service. Vitally important, you want to change your oil every 2 rides. You want to change your oil filters every 4 rides. So, very important, keep fresh oil in here. Remember, recycle it, people. Okay, do up your helmets tight for this crash festival. A little montage with Frantic City. Crank it up.
A pointed finger from my Uncle Sam. I crack my mirror on the wall. Just a chance to drop the ball. Some place to clear my head. I need a reason to leave this bed. Someone else to worry for me. Another mind to set my free. Yeah, yeah. What I need, I just can't find. My mind's running all the time. My taste on empty and I'm starting to bleed. I change the scenery, it's what I need. It's what I need, it's what I need. I just can't find. My mind's running all the time. My taste on empty and I'm starting to bleed. I change the scenery, it's what I need. It's what I need, it's what I need. I need, it's what I need. It's what you need, it's what I got. You need it right now.
Standing by with number 20, Kyle Beaton. Kyle, last weekend, a tough weekend in the mud, although I thought you rode really well. Unfortunately, coming out of that weekend, sitting 8th in points.
Yeah, you know, that was a tough moto. We only did the one moto, and I don't know, I've always been kind of a fan of the mud, and it worked out. I mean, my bike ran awesome the whole moto, didn't lose any water, didn't overheat, and tipped over on the last lap, ended up third, but then got docked 5 positions for apparently jumping on a yellow.
Pete not too pleased with that call. Stick around. He's fired up to race for you.
Welcome back to Regina and round 4 of the 2007 Monster Energy Motocross Nationals, and Monster Megan has got the 30 board up. This second MX2 Moto will be brought to you by Extreme Motocross Apparel with a nice shot of number 62. That's Reedman with the inside gate pick.
Most of the fast guys in MX2 are kind of right around the middle, and that's where the whole shot came from in the first moto. The gate is down. We got a clean start so far, and look at this, Eric Nye. Yes, he gets 2 for 2. The second moto, Royal Distributing whole shot.
As the boys blast over the double jump, Eric Nye in the lead. We've got all of our big players right now. Jimmy Nelson with an outside line, beaten behind him, and number 103, Tucker Hibbert, in second place.
Hibbert getting the traction down off the start beautifully. A little slide there, jumps furiously into the rocker. He still has second right now. Nye, exactly where he was in the first moto, out front. Gray Davenport in third, and you can see Jimmy Nelson in fourth place.
Through the Kawasaki sweeper to the Scott Lockoff cam as the boys funnel through down into the valley. Really tight now from 1st to 7th. Oh, amazing. Oh, Tucker Hibbert with a creative line over the mound, still in 2nd place.
Does a masterful job of saving that mistake. Still in 2nd place. Jimmy Nelson on the outside. Oh, gets caught up in the soft stuff. Loses 2 positions there. 1 to Urquhart. Beaton now takes a peek up the inside. 3 guys going for the same piece of real estate. Oh, Jimmy Nelson makes it happen. Beaton gets sideways, doesn't double, loses that position to Urquhart. It's fast and furious up near the front of the pack.
The boys through the camelbacks. Oh, look at there's Nelson and Beaton. And Urquhart, oh, look at the line for Evans on the inside. Does he have Tucker Hibbert? This is for 3rd place. You better believe it. What a line for that young 17-year-old.
Huge air off the jump. That's how he set up the pass. Landed way down the track on Hibbert. Executed a brilliant pass way beyond his 17 years of age. Ben Evans is a star of the future.
Up into the Blair Morgan corner. Davenport now in 2nd place. There's Evans. And Jimmy Nelson just rails her through.
Well, look how gnarly that is in there, Travis. It is warfare with the roost, with the clumpy dirt. It is a furious game of wits and fitness out here on this gruesome Regina racetrack.
Look at the competition we have here in MX2 West right now, Brian. We've got 6 guys that are battling for the lead. Oh my, what an experienced pass for the Boise, Idaho native on the inside.
Takes care of Davenport, knocks him right off balance. He's paddling along. Hibbert 103 with his head up. He is trying to find an opening. Loses a bit of ground as Jimmy Nelson takes a peek on the outside through the Cowie corner. Look how rough and gnarly that is right there. Bikes bouncing everywhere. And Jimmy just straightens it up down the ski jump into the lifter. Grabs a position. Snags it right away from Hibbert.
Look at this battle for 14th. The man Mountain Coots. Oh, and 194 Stratton goes for that snowcross line of Hibbert's. And Coots goes around him and takes the position.
Boys battling right through the field. Now it is Gray Davenport on the Orchard Transport Rockstar Suzuki, who is under all kinds of pressure from Blackfoot to Rock. Toyota Yamaha rider Jimmy Nelson looking him on the outside into the off-camber. There's 2 lines. Look at that. Gives him the shoulder check. What a slingshot move by Jimmy Nelson. He is ultra aggressive right now. He wants to take the clean sweep here. He's got Ben Evans and Eric Nye standing in his way, Travis.
Tucker Hibbert with a smooth slingshotter on the outside in the Blair Morgan corner, moves into 4th place past Gray Davenport. Oh, Brian, I love that corner with a lot of drive up through the lifter, looking good. Oh, Brian, look at this. The battle for the lead is hot. 3 bikes coming into this right-hander.
Eric Nye jumps to the outside. The outside gets tucked in with a lapper. This is do or die. He was making an aggressive move on Evans right there. Lapper got in his way. He doesn't have much time now, Travis, to try again.
Number 1, Jimmy Nelson on that factory Toyota Yamaha coming up on his final approach. Brian, this is 2 Moto wins today and the clean sweep in the MX2 class.
And Jimmy doesn't even do the jump on the last lap because it is a stretch on these MX2 motorcycles. To the Yamaha leaderboard, Nelson with the clean sweep. Evans and Nye have a good day, as does Beaton. Hibbert only gets 5th. Davenport gets 6th and Sharon in 9th.
The clean sweep here in Regina, MX2, both Moto wins. Jimmy, you had to work for that one. We had some great battling near the lead up there, but man, when you got it, you took off.
Yeah, you know, that was one heck of a good race, the whole Moto. I mean, there was 4 or 5 of us there kind of dicing, but it's tough to pass out there. You go to make a pass and lose some time, and I knew at the end of the Moto I'd be really strong, so that's what I just tried to do. And then I got a little bit of a gap those last, say, 3 laps, and I just put it on cruise control. There's a lot of places out there to make mistakes, and I didn't want to throw it away after that.
Number 235, Ben Evans, 2nd place, 2nd Moto. Ben, that was a fantastic ride. You guys were all up battling for the lead, and then you had a tough battle with Tucker Hibbert to get yourself into 2nd place, and what a great ride, man.
Yeah, it was definitely a good one. I had to ride hard the whole Moto, and that's what it's all about, definitely. I had to keep charging.
Take us back to your first Moto into the second. How has the track changed?
Just mainly a lot rougher. They seem to start out real slick after they water, but yeah, just a little bit rougher. I came off on a rough start. I crashed in the first turn in the first Moto. Made life a little easier on myself this time.
I would have to say that was one of the more fun motos to watch because there was 4 or 5 guys at one time battling for the lead. How did it feel out there to be in that package?
It was good, you know, just it felt good to be up front, and definitely there was a lot of battling going on, so it was kind of crazy for a while there, especially when we got into the lappers, and there was just people going everywhere. So, you know, I'm just happy to get my Monster Energy Cernix Kawasaki on the podium, and we're going to work real hard to be up at the top of the podium next time.
A great moto. There's our top 3 overall finishers. Stick around. JSR and friends next.
Riding New Zealand's like riding a club day here in Canada. These nationals here got the hype like an AMA national, but everybody's friendly. It's a cruisy, laid-back setup, and I like the Canadian series better than any series I've ridden before.
The Monster 30 board is going up. There you go, Megan. And the final MX1 Moto of the day is on the line. And it will be brought to you by MX Performance Magazine, the #1 motocross magazine in the country. There's #101, Paul Carpenter. You know how fast he is in the second moto as Megan goes to 5.
Some fast company on the line. We saw Blair Morgan. He's had a pretty decent day. There's Homan's #4. Right beside him, Medallia, Fraser, Medsley. They are off. The whole shots were coming from just to the right where JSR got it. Looks like Willard. Wildebeest gets the Royal distributing Hochiat.
And Tyler Medallia used that creative line off in the other section of the track. #11, Michael Willard with a great start, but John Sebastian Wise keeping pace on the inside. And look who's in third place, Jody and Blair Morgan finally in the top 5 with a good start.
We're gonna see if JSR learned his lesson with Gibson from the first moto. He has to be a bit more aggressive. I think in the first moto he had the lead and he was just coming in a little calmly into that corner, but he needs to be super aggressive to kind of gap the field early.
Through the lifter and the Scott Lockoff cam as the boys fly into that prairie sky. The battle for second is heating up. Michael Willard in second place. #10, Colton Jody coming into the off-camber. Brian, it's rough up there. You can see how gingerly they're coming into that corner.
Tons of big braking bumps coming into the off-camber, and there's some big rocks actually on the exit coming up the off-camber. So a gnarly part of the track. Fasciani has a peak wide, and it's working for him, carrying all kinds of momentum on Willard. Taxball takes the line away. Willard looks off, looks over, and just sees a sea of blue there.
There's an option line on the inside as they come into that left-hander, Brian, and Fasciani took that and made the pass. Right now, it looks like Gibson with a great start. Blair Morgan is under siege from the original.
Morgan with a good start and a better start this time for Carpenter. Chuck Mesley goes down on the face of this tabletop. We've had a lot of guys do that because they turn up the face and lose the front end. Chucky actually crashed there a couple years ago in the race.
The battle for third place is intense as they go down into the valley. Coming out of the valley, Fasciani with the inside and a bit of a booter. Does he have the line going into the Eurobowl? Yes, he does. No respect for the champ.
He hasn't been showing the champ a lot of respect. He is worried about his own career. He comes out of that lifter, looks over. He saw the champ, saw he had room, and just got the power down. Made a great pass to that ultra high-speed Eurobowl.
Gibson on the inside, looking for a place to get around Willard. Remember, Willard's probably riding a little more tentative than Gibson, thinking about that MX2 East Championship.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose. He's out here just to keep his fitness up, show well for KTM, hey, and make some money. There is no question about that. The MX1 class does pay better than the MX2.
Moving back in the field, Paul Carpenter starting to find some lines as he gets by Blair Morgan in that whoop section. Very super crossy there, very aggressive into that rut too. I like that.
Carpenter got Morgan that last lap. Morgan looking to see if he can find some lines. Oh, and Fraser goes down in the off-camber, causes all kinds of trouble for some of the other riders. Back to Carpenter. Right now, he's up on his teammate. Both on the Monster Energy Cernix Kawasaki. They're helped out by closed circuit. Landing simultaneous. Carpenter holds it on longer. Traps in the braking zone. Goes wide, but is able to maintain the position and takes the pass.
So aggressive coming into that corner, Brian, with great drive coming out of the valley. He was hot. To our leader, #10, Colton Fasciani, who is all about his business. High up on the tank, Brian, through that sweeper.
Yeah, you want to sit way up on the tank to maintain control of the front of the bike. And you can just see the suspension working and bumping. It is so choppy out here. And that shot makes you tired and can make you crash and deflect. The battle for 7th gets hot. These two, Marco Dubé, #5 on the KTM, and Blair Morgan on the Yamaha, battling tooth and nail for, seems their whole careers in this Canadian National Motocross Series.
There's Morgan on the pipe, but gets on the binders early and allows Marco to go on the outside. Again, we're talking about the consistency of Marco Dubé, and think about how long these guys have been battling. Brian, I like the high line in the Blair Morgan corner. this battle here for third place.
Willard looks great off that jump. A lot of body English, working his leg through the mechanics area. Carpenter, ultra aggressive. See how he keeps his head and shoulders over the triple clamp, sitting a little further forward than Willard. Tells me he's a bit more aggressive. Lapped rider's got to get the heck out of the way. Carpenter takes third. The great pass on Michael Willard.
So aggressive, Paul Carpenter's, and he doesn't mind getting into the rough stuff to make a pass. Look at this beauty. Mason Phillips with number 4, Simon Homans, all over him, down into the valley, into the Blair Morgan corner, and Homans goes inside. Mason Phillips on the outside there, carrying speed, Brian. I like it.
The outside is much smoother, and the ruts here really horrible. The last moto of the day, the track getting very choppy. To our leader, Colton Fasciati. He's got a good couple seconds on the champ, but now Carpenter all over the back fender of Jean-Sébastien Roy. Up the inside, looking very, very threatening for that second place position. Dubé gets cross-running for 5th. Unbelievable action, and that was NorCal, the original.
Back up to our lead package, number 2, Jean-Sébastien Roy coming into the off-camber. Paulie Carpenter following through that section. Brian, it's ultra rough. Here you see where the ruts come in and out. And now Carpenter's got the inside line. Coming into the Blair Morgan corner. Jean-Sébastien Roy backs it up. Carpenter with a blocker and some drive out and takes second place.
The champ not quite defensive enough. He took the inside at the top and then went wide in the Blair Morgan corner. Possibly when he reviews this tape, he'll think he should have gone for the inside and get a blocker. And that's just showing how slippery it is. Chuck Mesley doing a helmet test out here in the second moto. That has got to hurt. That's twice down for Chucky and that Machine Racing 450 Honda.
Shiny off the jump into some ruts, a tough section. This is for the lead, Brian. Number 10, Colton Faccioti, has got Carpenter all on him as they get into that off-camera again. Oh, did you see the way Faccioti went outside, Carpenter going inside? Watch the approach to the Blair Morgan corner.
I like the line options out here. Faccioti finds some good dirt to roost, and he was taking... Oh, yes! Oh my! Yeah, that is right. Faccioti was taking the outside line. He wanted to go inside to be defensive, hit a little bit of a kicker and a rock in that rut. Unbelievable, caught Colton off guard. Let's see if we can get this bike fired up. Oh my goodness, Colton was going for the clean sweep.
He was, Brian, and he was only a corner away from getting his last lap bike back on the bike. Here's the crash.
Comes to the inside to be defensive, swings wide, which I would do too to keep Carpenter on his toes. G's out, and I was up there. There's a little rock in that one exit of that rut. I think he hit this round rock, compressed him, stepped the front wheel out, down he goes, and hard to get regrouped and remounted when you're on a hill like that, especially with the heavy 450.
A horrible crash, but he is back on the bike, sitting now in 4th place. As we get to our leaders on their final approach, Carpenter looking good, but again, Waugh on the last lap is closing up the gap. And we've seen this story before.
This is the 3rd time this year we've seen this scenario play down. Right around the corners, the checkers. Paul Carpenter, one of the most aggressive, no-nonsense riders on the circuit. He reminds me so much of Jean-Sébastien Roy. They're similar riding styles, no-nonsense riders. If I'm a team manager, I want Carpenter. Suspension setup, ultra critical today. The guys that got it right were Colton Fasciati, Jean-Sébastien Roy, Michael Willard. Of course, Carpenter had it dialed in. Dubé is solid all day, as is Jeff Northrup and Blair Morgan.
In 3 of the motos we've seen so far this season, late in the moto and on the last lap, Jean-Sébastien Roy has been able to close the gap on you again. Could you feel that pressure from him on the last lap?
No, you know, I wasn't really paying attention to that. I'd already caught and passed him, and I was on my way, you know, to the win. And I was just trying to be smart. I knew it was going to take something spectacular for him to pass me, and it was just kind of playing it safe. But he's ridden well all year, and it's definitely going to be a long series. I mean, we still have, I think, 5 or 6 more rounds left, and we just got to keep putting our head down and putting the Kawasaki out front, and hopefully we can get to where we need to be.
It's amazing to watch you and Paul Carpenter out there late in the moto. You constantly are catching him. What is going on with that last lap? You got something in the tank, it seems.
Yeah, I think I got a little distracted when he got behind me and maybe did 1 or 2 mistakes, but
you know, after that I focused and I was able to push a little harder by the end, but still it's not enough. I need to win some moto.
Do you have a different mindset when you go out and race an MX1 race? Because obviously your focus is still MX2. Do you race differently?
I kind of be conservative a little bit, you know. Like, I know the 450 isn't like, I'm not racing in the series, so you know, I just try to ride smooth and, you know, not, you know, do anything stupid to, you know, jeopardize my championship chance in the MX2 in the East. But you know, I'd like to thank, you know, RTR for letting me use the bike for the weekend.
After 2 of 4 rounds, MX2 West, Jimmy Nelson and Nye. Ben Evans is in there mixing it up. Look at the logjam up through the top 10. Some great racing heating up.
Getting to MX1 after 4 of 9 rounds, Carpenter, Waugh, and Cook. How about Marco Dubé sitting 4th in points like Mason Phillips, Lockhart, and Mesley?
Thanks for joining us for some great racing out here in the prairies. Colton Fasciati bags his first ever overall. The shape of things to come.
You have been watching the 2007 Monster Energy Motocross Nationals. Brought to you by Motovan, the source for power sports parts and accessories, and Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. For Brian Coster, I'm Mark Travers. Hey, Regina, thanks. We'll see you in Calgary.